Dear students, welcome to Basic English classes at the platform of my channel Teacher Educator. Today, let's explore a basic concept in English, that is subject and predicate. Here is a very popular story listening to which we all have grown up. The goose that laid golden eggs. Let's once again peep into it. A farmer bought a goose from a village fair. His wife was happy to have the goose. They kept the goose in their barn. The goose laid a golden egg every day. The farmer and his wife were very happy. Each day, the farmer sold the egg in the village market. The farmer and his wife soon became rich. The farmer's wife became greedy. She wanted to get all the eggs at once. The farmer liked her idea. The farmer and his wife killed the goose. They found nothing inside the goose. So, dear students, the moral is greed always leads to great loss. Now, dear students, I ask a question to you. How did you get to know the moral of this story? In simple terms, you read the sentences given here, connected the meaning of sentences and developed a general understanding about the story. So, it is the sentence which plays the role of a star in our communication. Now, let me brief you about the meaning of the sentence. A group of the words that makes complete sense is called a sentence. Let us have an example. A farmer bought a goose from a village fair. In the given story, there are many sentences and each sentence gives you a complete sense in itself. Sentence contains two parts, subject and a predicate. Subject, here let us know in the given example, a farmer bought a goose from a village fair. So a farmer is a subject, bought a goose from a village fair is a predicate. Isn't it still confusing? What is the meaning of subject after all? Let me explain to you. So, dear students, the part of the sentence that performs the action is called the subject. Subject is the hero of the entire sentence. A subject can be a word or a group of the words or pronoun in a given sentence. Here, example is the goose laid a golden egg every day. So, who laid a golden egg every day? Who is the action doer? The goose. So, the goose is the subject in this sentence. Now, let us know about the predicate. So, what is a predicate? Predicate is that part of the sentence which is remained after the subject. Remaining part of the sentence other than the subject is called predicate. A predicate will always have one verb. Next, the example here is the goose laid a golden egg every day. So here the goose is the subject and laid a golden egg every day is a remained part after the subject, and this entire part is called as the predicate. Now let us have the practice time. One thing we have to remember, in order to choose the subject in a sentence, we need to identify first verb. Then we need to ask a question before the verb. The question can be who or what, right? So to identify the subject, you need to ask the question who or what before the verb. Let us see with the help of some examples. Here I have given some of the assertive sentences, and we know that assertive sentences give some kind of declaration. Here you see the first example is the child wore a beautiful cap. So first what we need to identify? First we need to identify verb. So when you have found out the verb, you need to ask a question, who wore a beautiful cap, right? So who wore? The child wore. So the child is the subject here. Wore a beautiful cap is the predicate. Next sentence, Ashoka was a generous emperor. Was is the verb. A generous emperor. Here Ashoka is the subject. So let us ask the question, who was a generous emperor? Ashoka. So Ashoka is the subject and was a generous emperor is the predicate. Next, The little girl performed gracefully. In this sentence, we see that performed is the verb, and here we have to ask a question. Who performed gracefully? The little girl. So all these three words together will make the subject. So the little girl is the subject, performed gracefully is the predicate. Next sentence, Maya's bag is on the bench. Here, what is the verb? The verb is. So if you remember, I had told at the time, to identify subject, first we need to ask a question before the verb. And at the same time, the question can be what or who. So here you can ask a question, what is on the bench? Maya's bag is on the bench, so that is the subject. Is on the bench is the predicate. Next sentence, the Ramayana is a holy book. Is the verb. So what is a holy book? The Ramayana. So the Ramayana is become the subject. Is a holy book becomes the predicate. So now let us move towards the next type of the sentences. Now let us identify subject and predicate in the interrogative sentences. We know interrogative sentences ask some kind of the question. So here the question is, or the sentence is Kavita awake? Who is awake? Kavita. So Kavita is the subject in this given sentence, and is awake is your predicate. Here what we can understand is the subject is placed between the helping verb is and the main verb awake. The next sentence, has Anita left for her piano class? So who has left? Anita. So Anita is the subject. Has left for the piano class is your predicate. Here also Anita subject has been placed between the helping verb has and left the main verb. The next question, does she know how to dive? So here you see she. Who knows? She. So she is the subject. Does know how to dive. This is the part of the predicate. Here the subject she is placed between the helping verb does and the main verb know. Next one, the question is, was Lisa baking an apple pie? So Lisa is the subject. Was baking an apple pie is the predicate. Here also the subject Lisa is placed between the helping verb was and main verb baking. Next sentence, have you informed your teacher? So here what do you say? The you is the subject and have informed your teachers is a part of your predicate. So what do we see here in the given sentences? All these sentences of interrogation, the subject is placed between the helping verb and the main verb. Now let us look at some more examples of the interrogative sentences only. Here those are these interrogative sentences have the interrogation words like how much, when, what, where, right? So how to identify subjects in that? Dear students, if you have identified subject, the rest of the part is the predicate. So our major target should be to find out the subject. Now let us see the sentence, how much does the dress cost? So in this type of the sentences, how you can identify subject? The basic rule is that in an interrogative sentence that begin with the question word like how, when, what, where, which, the subject can be found by changing the question into a statement. For an example, how much does the dress cost? So you can ask a question, the dress costs how much? Though grammatically it may not sound correct, but in order to identify the subject you can place like that, the dress cost how much. So the dress is the subject here. The next rest of the part is the predicate. Now in the next example, when is the train arriving? The train is arriving when? So the train is the subject and is arriving when is your predicate. Then, what are you doing? In this sentence, you are doing what? You can change it like that and you comes first. That is the subject. Are doing what is the predicate. The next sentence is, where is the post office? How you can change in your mind? The post office is where? So it means Here the post office is the subject, is where is your predicate. Here one more point, I think I had already told you that all the predicates will always have one verb. So if you see here all the predicates have got, in all the sentences, one verb is always there. Your predicate is including the verb, right? Either it is helping verb or the main verb. Now let us move towards the next type of the examples. Those are the imperative sentences. Dear students, imperative sentences always express any kind of request or command. So here you see the example is close the door, go away, sit down, wait outside, or run. Here if you see down, there is only one word, that is run. That itself is a complete sentence. What we need to understand is that in the imperative sentences, the subject is not expressed in the written form. In an imperative sentence, the subject is always you. It means you close the door, you go away, you sit down, you wait outside, you run. So whenever it is asked you to find out the subject is always hidden and the answer is you, right? So these are the examples of your imperative sentences. Rest of the part in this given sentence is like go away. So in this, everything is what? Everything is a predicate, the subject is hidden. Your close the door is a predicate, go away is a predicate, sit down, wait outside, run. These all are the predicates. Here subject is hidden, that is your you. Now let us see the examples of the exclamatory sentences. We know that exclamatory sentences are those which express any kind of the strong emotions. So the first example is, how beautiful the sky looks. How you can find out the subject in that? In an exclamatory sentence, we find the subject by asking who or what does the action. So what looks beautiful? The sky. So the sky is the subject and how beautiful looks is the predicate. Next example is, what a terrible lie he told. So here again we can ask the question who. So who means answer is he. He is the subject and what a terrible lie told is the predicate. Next is, how cold the night is. What, right? What is cold? The night is cold, right? So the night is the subject, how cold is the predicate. The next example is, look how swiftly the children run. So here the children is the subject and rest of the part of the sentence is the predicate. So dear students, I hope you have been able to understand about subject and predicate. The golden rule in subject predicate is only to find out the subject. If you have identified the subject, the rest part of the sentence is always the predicate. So thank you so much.